what that is. That feeling deep down inside of you that needs to be released. In the words of Kenny Rogers, his mother told him, "Do what you love and it will not feel like work, but the more you do it, the more you love it." So in other words, whatever you love to do it constantly. The money will come and it will not feel like work. It will be something that you enjoy doing. As women, we're responsible for the care of others. We defer our dream to hold the family together. We say one day soon we're going to go back to school or go back to do the things that we wanted to get done. However, time passes away. And my father's favorite quote was, "Tomorrow never comes, and procrastination is the thief of time." I never understood him when he said tomorrow never comes. Because I would challenge him. I would say, "Dad, it's today." And he says, "No, tomorrow." And I would say, "No, Dad." If he said, "No, it's today," I would say, "No, it's tomorrow." And I go to sleep and wake up and I would say to him, "Oh, it's tomorrow." And then he would say, "No, it's today." So, it took me years to understand what he was talking about. But tomorrow never comes. So if you have something to do, don't put it off until tomorrow, because tomorrow never comes. Where do you start? Where do you start in achieving your goal? Well, start with what you have, where you are, with everything you have got. You are your own tool. Remember the biblical story of Moses trying to cross the Red Sea? The crowd, he had millions of people to go over the Red Sea, to cross to the next side. He didn't know what to do. Pharaoh's army was coming down on him, and the only thing he had in his hand was that staff. So what did he do after talking to God and praying? He used the staff that he had to stretch and touch the sea, and the Red Sea parted. So you have to start where you are with what you have and give it your all. You have to also build upon what you know. It doesn't make sense for you to try to reinvent the wheel. Say, for example, you were growing up as a kid and somebody used to say something like, "Oh, you're good at what you do." Say, you could bake, and they say you're good at what you do. But, we get older, we took it for granted. We was like, "Oh, well, no big deal." But if you are the best baker in town, or if you know how to bake, I would say start where you are right there. Recognize what is it you want to achieve, and how to go about achieving what you want to get done. And another way of achieving your goal is, I would say, for example, you want to learn how to bake. You try to get a job in a bakery. You learn the trade as you go along. Volunteer a few hours. If you want to say be a teacher, you get some experience volunteering. You tap on your resources. Everybody has an iPhone. Everybody has a computer or a laptop. So those are some of the resources. You go to the library. You get the information. If there are free classes here or free classes there, you go take some of those classes. And I say, make time to practice your skill set. Like I said, if you're the best baker or the person who could ice and cake or whatever you do, you have to practice, because perfect practice becomes perfect, right? And also, ask for assistance. Say, you're a dressmaker or you're baking or whatever you're doing. I'm just trying to keep it as simple as possible. Ask your children to help you, your family members, because if you get a big order and that could make or break you, ask for assistance. Ask your children, say, well, I have this to do, I have that to do. It took me 8 years before I was able to get one of my books published. Because my kids, when they started out, I had a story that I wanted to tell. And my son said to me, Mom, I met this girl in college, but she wants to be a journalist. However, she has to finish, she just started college. And I said, okay. So in the 8 years that I'm waiting, I wrote another book. I had to wait for my son to graduate. I had to wait for his girlfriend to graduate, who is now my daughter-in-law. And then I had to wait for them to get their jobs. And after they got their jobs, then this is when she decided to set up her own publishing company. And then in the meantime, my daughter, she is the graphic design person. So she went to college to be a graphic designer. And I had to wait for her to graduate in order to design my book cover for me. So, tap into the resources you have. Your children are good resources. And young people, they have a lot to offer. Also, be willing to take criticism. I know it can be painful, but sometimes it could be good or it could be bad, but just take it with a grain of salt and use it as a learning tool. Because, for example, I remembered when I decided that I was going to write my first book. I wrote the first chapter. It has been years since I really sit down to write a story or write a chapter. You went to college and you write papers, and it's been a while, and I was a reader growing up, and I decided I was just gonna get the outline, not even the outline, just write the first chapter because it was inside of me and it needed to come out. I wrote my first chapter, and I had a friend. She doesn't miss a T, she doesn't miss an I or a T. She dot every I and cross every T. She doesn't miss anything. That's she's an editor. And I took it to her and I gave her the first chapter. And a few hours later, I picked it up back from her. And when I looked, she had 2 big X's going across the page. I was ticked off. I didn't say anything. I just took the paper and I was burning inside because I felt so hurt. However, I said she was not going to get the best of me. So I went home that night and I'm looking at the paperwork, and she had a lot of questions on that chapter. And I'm saying, well, if she had a lot of questions, obviously I did not present myself the way I should have. So I sat up all night till 4 o'clock in the morning, and I rewrote the first chapter that was maybe 12 or 14 pages. I rewrote it, and I said, when I see her the next day, I'm going to give it to her, which I did. I gave it to her, and I was working up front at the time because I was, a counselor at that time. So I spent most of the day up front talking to students. Anyway, when I came back to my desk, she put my paperwork in a folder and put it on my desk. So I picked it up and I looked at it, and there was nothing, no red marks, because I know she doesn't miss anything. And I looked at it, and at the end of the 12 pages or 14 pages, I saw a little check, and just a teeny tiny check. And I said, well, so I couldn't wait for the day to be over so I could meet up with her again. So I met her and I said, oh, did you read the paperwork? Did you read it over? She said, yes. And I said, you didn't make any checks or any correction. She said there was nothing to make. So that criticism, that it was not directly said out loudly, but the X that she made on my paper, that was like my form of humility, and I did it over. So be willing to take criticism, and step up to the challenge too, because if you're good at what you do, you have to step up to the challenge, because it's going to be good, better, best every day. And my primary school that I went to, Franklin Town Primary School, the motto there that we recited every day was, only the best is good enough. And most of all, block negativity. Because whenever you try to do something, suddenly everybody comes out of the woodwork, wants to tell you this, wants to tell you that. But I would say to you, block negativity, because that's not a part of your progress. How do we overcome obstacles? That is one of the most fearful questions. Is it fear? Because fear cripples, stagnates, and paralyzes us. Is it doubt? We're doubting Thomas. When we were growing up, somebody may have told you that somebody's better than you. But who told you that somebody's better than you? So you have that doubt. Don't let anyone tell you that somebody is better than you. It's not necessarily education either. Because if you have a gift, you have a gift. Because you have many people who are educated and still don't know how to utilize their gift. So if you have that passion burning inside of you and it's your gift, you have to wear your gift. You have to utilize your gift. So don't let anyone tell you that it's necessarily education, because sometimes it's not. If you have that gift, if you're a dressmaker and nobody could sew better than you are, that's your gift. So you hold steadfast to your gift. Unbelief. You have to believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, nobody is going to believe in you. I always say that. In the biblical story, I think it's in Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through the Most High. Just to summarize, or God said you can do all things through Him. He didn't say some things or a few things. He said all things. So you have to believe in yourself, or no one is going to believe in you. Another overcoming obstacles would be friends and family. Because the minute sometimes you try to make that step forward, you get those feedback and that backlash from friends and family who comes up with all kind of negative tone. People who you will know from you were growing up, people who are close beside you. And the minute they see that you want to make an effort to go forward, they will try to stop you. They will not talk to you. So be prepared for friends and family to let go. One of my favorite person that I listen to most days is Steve Harvey. You know what he said in his quote? He said, many will come with you, but only a few can go with you. So the people that you meet along the way, just cherish what you've learned from them, because people comes in your life for a reason and a season. But don't let them deter you from whatever you're passionate about. Also, lack of self-esteem. Like I said, you have to believe in yourself. You may have told that you can't. And my father always tells me that I can't is a sluggard who never would try. So you have to try. You have to make that try. The next thing, overcoming obstacles would be develop a more positive and potent self of sense. You also have to be with like-minded people. People that you can learn, people that have your interests at heart, people that you can learn from, people that you can teach in that same sense. My kids going to college, and I had 3 college-age children at that time that was going to college. Now they're adults, and I told them when they were going to college, if you decide to go to college, you're going to college. But you cannot hang out with people who do not go to college. I'm sorry, because they have no concept of homework, project, study, or just especially study 3-4 hours a day. They don't have that concept. So you have to be with like-minded people. And in the words of T.D. Jakes, he said, some people comes to feed you and some people comes to deplete you. So You have to know what you want, who comes to feed you and who comes to deplete you, right? So how do you go about implementing your passion? This is the most challenging part of, getting to the next step from A to B. It may require some collaboration. You have to work with other people to implement some of your passion. Like if it's a business you're setting up, you may want to work with an accountant or somebody who knows what you know and need and that could help you along the way. And also in that process, you have to keep an eye on your finances. You have to know somebody that knows the taxes and the laws, because you have to pay your taxes and those things. The financial aspect of it is very important. So even if you have to take time out of your time every day to look over the finances, because ultimately it's about making money while pursuing your passion. Along the ways, it's going to be bumps and bruises. You're going to encounter bumps and bruises. Nothing is easy, but because of the belief, the commitment, and the perseverance, and also the release of fear and doubt, you will be able to overcome. Because one of our fear and doubt is crippling to most of us. So you're going to encounter a lot, but you have to hold steadfast. You have to pray to move on to the next level. And also, failure is not a bad thing. Failure is a learning lesson. Don't take it because you may not be able to do A or B this way. If you have 10 people doing something, they're going to be doing it 10 different ways. So failure is not an option, and it's not bad. It's a learning lesson, and you'll know what to do the next time you move forward, right? And also you have to implement contingency, because there are detours. And in the words of Steve Harvey again, he said, the road to success is always under construction, because you may start out to do this, and if it's not the will of God to do this, He may want you to go that way, but at least He opens an insight for you to move forward, right? In the process of implementing your passion, you're going to lose many friends and family, and ugly is going to rear its head all the time, but you have to hold steadfast. Don't let anyone deter you. You're going to also have lots of sleepless nights and multitasking to do. But as you give birth to your passion, when it's all said and done, you could breathe easily, because you know you've worked on this. You're able to do that. Because I know when my first book was published, and I could not wait for it to come back from the publisher and from the printer to see what the book looks like. And when it was done, I said, yes, I finally was able to achieve that goal, and have my book Barrel Child out and ready, for the world to see. And also while you're moving forward in achieving your passion, you have to stay current, because change is constant. You have to stay current. So you have to take time to read and just stay on top of things. And like I said, just do it. It is difficult. It may not sound as easy as it is, but I always said, if you have something to do, go ahead and just do it. Thank you for giving me the opportunity.